And it is not found in him. وَلَا يُوجَدْ مَا يُبْطِلُ صَوْمُهُ. And there is nothing that is found in a person that slept the whole day, from the time that after he ate the suhoor all the way to the time that it is Maghrib, he slept the whole day, non-stop. Then it is nothing to be said, meaning there is nothing to be found as a nullifier or as that which will break his fast. وَلَا قَضَاءُ عَلَيْهِ. And there is no al-qada, there is no bringing that day back, there is no paying that day back. Now the Shaykh Hafidhahullah mentioned a very important thing, because here there is two people that are asleep. The person in the coma and the person that is asleep. They are both sleeping the same time, the same hours. One was under the coma from the time that he ate the suhoor all the way to barakallah fikum, Maghrib, right after Maghrib. The other one also from the time he ate the suhoor all the way to after Maghrib. Both of them was asleep. This was under the coma, this was sleep. طيب. So he mentioned here, Hafidhahullah, Rahimahullah, وَالْفَرْقَ بَيْنَهُ وَبَيْنَ. And the difference here between the person that is asleep and the person that is under the coma, he said it is that the person that is asleep, if you wake him up, he will wake up and he will gain his consciousness. If the person that is asleep, if you wake him up, he will wake up and he will gain his consciousness. He will still have his consciousness. If you wake him up, he will wake up and he will gain his consciousness. Can we say the same thing as far as the person that is in the coma? You wake him up, it's not barakallah. If he look at you, it still doesn't mean that he still have his consciousness. He might not even barakallah if he can be in a stage whereas he can alhamdulillah wake up. So here it was. Now the second point, the 17th point, is talking about the intention. The intention for fasting is an obligation. Having the intention for fasting is an obligation. And it is important, it is an obligation to specify also the intention. It is an obligation to specify the intention. Like the person that he will be making the intention of fasting the month of Ramadan. Right? فَيَنْوِي الصيام عن رمضان فينوي الصيام عن رمضان. So he will have the intention of fasting the month of Ramadan, or he will have the intention of making a kafara, right? Making a kafara, expiation, right? He will have to have that intention of making a kafara. Let's say if a person, barakallahu fikum, he declare his wife, what you call what is it that if a person declares to his wife, he has to fast 2 months back to back? I want the Arabic word because we mentioned him few times. No, the word. Just give me the word, don't give me the definition or the example. I want the Arabic word. Al-Zihara. Right? Meaning to tell your wife you are like my mother. Right? So, min qabli an yatamassa, before that you have a intercourse with her again. One of those kafara is what? Is an yasumu shahraini mutatabi'aini. Right? To have 2 consecutive months. So fasting those 2 consecutive months, those 60 days back to back, it is a must to have what? The correct intention. So you have to have the intention. It is not like barakallah fikum that the person he get up, there is no food in the house, it's 11 o'clock, he say I'm fasting. It's not like that. But this one has to have the intention from the time whereas the fasting starts. Where the time of the fasting starts, from that time on or before, he has to have the correct intention. طيب. So like the person making the kafara, he is making a fasting of kafara. right? Another fasting that is, right, an obligation of kafara. We mentioned this, dhihara, another one from the youth. Another fasting that is an expiation because of what a person have done. So there is no way to rectify that except by fasting those 60 days or 2 months back to back. From the youth. Huh? What did you say? He's grown. He's grown up. Ahsanta. But if you have intercourse in Ramadan, that's still short in your answer. He said if you have intercourse in the Ramadan, you have to fast 60 days, 2 months back to back. It's halfway through. Ustaz. While it is an obligation for you to fast. Because you can travel with your wife, right? During the trip, you have intercourse with your wife. You're not fasting, she's not fasting, right? Because the rukhsa was the traveling. So you can eat, you can drink while you are on the trip if you decide, to not to be fasting. So if a person and we'll cover that, if a person has a jima' with his wife in the day of Ramadan where it is an obligation, cut it off, man. Where it is an obligation to do what? To fast, then the person has to, one of those is to fast 2 consecutive months back to back. And for that you have to have that intention. It is not like you fasting just because you're fasting, but rather you have to have that intention. Na'am. He say, aw nadhar, or the person is having a vow, an oath. The person took an oath that if Allah cure my sick son or my sick daughter or my mother or whatever the case might be, that I will fast 3 days. Or if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow me to have, this situation I'm in, that, Allah allow me to, alhamdulillah, go through it, right, and make the best way possible of it, that I will fast 3 days. When you fasting those 3 days or that 1 day or those 2 days or however amount of days, then barakallahu fikum, you have to have the right intention. You have to have the right intention. You have to have the right intention on that. So the intention has to be specified. You are not fasting a Monday and Thursday in the month of Ramadan just like how you were fasting it in the other days. This is 2 different fasting. One is an obligation, one is from the actions of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now here we're dealing with the issue of the intention. وينوي قبل طلوع الفجر للصيام الفرض. That the intention has to be before Fajr. It has to be before dawn. For any fasting that is an obligation. For any fasting that is an obligation, the intention has to be what? Before Fajr, before dawn. Right? Before dawn. It has to be, the intention has to be established up there. طيب. Now do we pronounce the intention? Is it something that we pronounce, Muhammad? Do we say, I gotta fast tomorrow? Huh? Inshallah. You know what? That word, I'm a fast tomorrow, inshallah, will deal with it. Because a person can say, I'm a fast tomorrow, inshallah, and his fasting will be invalid. Likewise, a person can say, I'm a fast tomorrow, and he is inshallah, and his fasting to be valid. A person can say, I'm a fast tomorrow, inshallah. Tomorrow come he fast, and his fasting is valid. A person can say, I'm a fast tomorrow, inshallah. Tomorrow come he fast, and his fasting will be invalid. Inshallah, we will detail that. How is that possible? But my question was not that. That can we say Can we pronounce the intention? Muhammad. Ahsan, tabarakallah fi. You want a cup of coffee? Give it to him. Jazakallah khairan. He said he don't want it no more. Barakallah fi. He mentioned, right, the intention is not to be pronounced, but rather mahalluha al-qalb, the place of it is the heart. Right? The intention is not to be said. It doesn't matter what act of worship you do. The intention is not to be said. Whether you're praying, whether you're fasting, whether you're doing this, whatever you do as act of worship, right? The intention is not to be said. Right? It is not to be mahfuz. It is not to be malfuz. It is not to be said openly. Right? But rather it is to be pronounced in your heart. These are, if you all remember, the actions of the statements of the heart. Right? The statements of the heart. Because we say al-iman is what? Statement of the heart, action of the heart, action of the body, statement of the tongue. Right? Action of the heart, action of the statement of the tongue, of the heart. The heart will also have statement. And one of the statements of the heart is what? Having the intention. Having your intention. So it is not to be said in any act of worship a person do. Many times you see people when they're about to pray, they will raise their hands. Right? Start talking. While they're doing that, because they are formulating the intention. This is an innovation. This is an innovation. One is not to be barakallah fikum saying, I'm about to pray Maghrib or Isha behind Abu Aisha in Masjid Kada wa Kada at this time. No, none of those barakallah fikum. But mahalluha al-qalb, the intention, the heart, the place of it is the heart. Now we say this and conclude bi'idhnillahi ta'ala for tonight. So he mentioned hafidhahullah, because of the As-Saum of the day, the complete day, لا يتحقق إلا بهذا, that the fasting of the whole day, is not being realistic or being done except by way of the intention. If a person stay the whole day without eating, are you going to say necessarily he's fasting? Not necessarily. If he, barakallah fikum, say, he had the intention, then alhamdulillah it is fasting. But if he doesn't have the intention, then he's refraining from food and drink, doesn't mean that he was fasting. So the fasting of a complete day does not, barakallah fikum, take effect except by way of the intention. فَمَنْ نَوَى بَعْدَ طُلُوعِ الْفَجْرِ لَا يُقَالُ إِنَّهُ صَائِمْ يَوْمًا. If a person have the intention after Fajr, the person have the intention after Fajr, you don't say that he fasted the whole day. Here, you don't say that he fasted the whole day. Because of what? That could be done in regard to a fasting that is a non-obligatory fasting. That could be done in a non-obligatory fasting, where a person, barakallah fikum, get up in the morning, alhamdulillah, went to work until 11 o'clock, he come home, what is it, what is in the house? Nothing to eat. He say, I'm fasting. So his intention started where? From that time on, all the way to the end of the fasting, he would be rewarded for that time. It is unlike a